Games Mindset. I'm Andrew, and today we're going to be going over a different kind of topic than the usual. Today's topic is going to be why you get rejected, mostly men. There's a lot of reasons that I personally think why, and I have a few friends that are kind of going through this kind of stuff, so I figured it would be a good video to address and a good topic to talk about. Usually we talk about nutrition and mindset, but this is kind of something that a lot of people have trouble with, so I figured it would be a good video to kind of explore. So there's a few reasons why that men get rejected, in my opinion, and we're going to go over them today. The first one is guys that talk too much. Well, it's like usually, unfortunately, guys kind of talk women right out of liking them. I have a few friends who do this themselves. They kind of ramble a little bit on too much, and the woman kind of backs off, and usually by mistake, sometimes even the guy kind of talks about himself too much, and that kind of turns her off. So this is mostly when you first meet her. That's usually when it first happens the most, and she kind of just, I don't know. So I kind of see that a lot. Another reason why men get rejected is because they don't really read the signs. So women try to kind of give off these verbal cues that they're not really interested, but guys, especially if you're at a bar and under the influence of alcohol, you don't really understand. So a lot of the times she'll trying to give you these verbal cues that she's not really interested, and you kind of keep going on and on and on, and she's like, So it's really a very good thing if we try to understand body language a little bit more, and maybe kind of understand when the right time is to keep going and when the right time is to back off. There's usually a pretty good balance with that. So usually we should try to understand where they're coming from more often, and try to see where we're going wrong and maybe pick up our game a little bit. Another reason is that a lot of guys freak out and lose control at certain points. So basically, if it's not going the guy's way, he might be a little egotistic. So he might kind of panic a little bit in his mind. He might say something that's not really smart, or he might get mad. For example, I think a lot of girls know when a guy kind of tries to flirt with a girl, and she kind of rejects him easily, and then he gets pissed off, so he starts cursing at her, and then this usually happens through text, but through person obviously a lot as well. I think a lot of guys unfortunately make this mistake. They lose control and they go berserk. So that's not good, and it's never good to lose your emotional center. It's not good and never helps. And especially if you start cursing at him and you just lose complete control, it never works, and it's not going to solve anything. So the best thing you could do if she lets you down is you just let it go, find somebody else. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Another reason is that people have to realize, especially guys, we have to realize that attraction is not a choice. It's either she's into you or she's not. If she's not, you just kind of have to let it go and move on to the next. Because as I said, there's a lot of people out there. There's literally more beautiful women than you could ask out in your entire life in the world. So don't sweat it. Just move on. And you have to understand that if she's just not into you, it's simple. If the attraction scale is below a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, you just have no chance, and the best thing to do is move on. So there's that. Another reason is that guys try to kind of force things. So if he thinks that it's not going his way, he might try to go a little... He might emotionally get a little worked up, and he might kind of just start losing control as we go back to what we talked about before. And he kind of tries to... He uses logic to convince a woman to kind of go with him, but that doesn't always work. And as most of us know, women are more emotional as guys are more logical. So the more you try, and the more you try to convince her or convince yourself in your head that she needs to be with you, it's probably a better idea to just, go back to the verbal cues and know that if it's just not working, it's just not working. Forcing things never makes anything better. It usually makes things worse. It's just not worth it. Remember, another one is being too nice. We've been kind of fed by the media and all these movies and TV shows that we should be that nice guy that picks up the books when she drops them at college, that kind of funny stuff. But being too nice is what kind of gets you rejected, because She doesn't view you as a strong, confident male. She might view you as weak if you come off as, the friendship vibe, and that usually ends up with you getting friend zoned, so that doesn't really work. So if you're into a girl, you should show it and not try to come off as just her friend, because usually if you try to become her friend and then months go by and you're like, and then you finally get the courage to ask her out, and then she says, oh, I thought we were just friends. And then your whole world gets thrown upside down and you wonder, what? I just wasted 2 months trying to be her friend, and then that never works. So another one is impatience. A lot of guys, a lot of us are impatient, and we try to, it goes back to like rushing things and forcing things. That never really works. And with women, as I said, they're more emotional as we're more logical. So you have to be patient sometimes, and you have to get to know someone. A lot of these girls, they just, they'd rather, it's best to have them do most of the talking. So especially when you first meet them, it's best to just ask questions and not to rush into topics like sex or anything. It's best to just take it easy and just ask her basic questions about herself, and take things slow. Don't rush into anything sexual, because that can come off as, they could sense what you're trying to get at, and it doesn't really work out, unless she's really into that kind of stuff too, and maybe she's looking for a one night stand. It does exist. It happens out there. So if it happens, it happens. Another one is a weakness. A lot of guys show weakness too easily. It's just like losing control and freaking out and saying the wrong things at the wrong time, which I used to do all the time. I can think of so many times when I accidentally would say something and it would just ruin everything, and it would just be like, God, no, my God. It would basically, if you say, like, if you keep implying that you don't believe in yourself or you're not confident, women can sense that you're not confident, and once they sense that, it's basically downhill from there, and it's hard to redeem yourself if she doesn't see you as confident, something like that. It could be very easy to display weakness, even in unfortunate moments. It's very, unfortunately, kind of just happens. But the best you could do is work on yourself and become, the best person you can be, a more confident kind of person. And it's always, I remember, a couple years ago when I was in a certain relationship, I would always be like, oh, you should just break up with me because I'm just not good enough for you. You should just break up with me. That's some weak stuff to say. And if you say stuff like that, like, oh, I'm too ugly for you, or you put her on a pedestal, and if you display weakness like that, she'll definitely get turned off, and it's not going to work out very well. And you might lose control and all, so it's stay in your emotional center, be the strong man that you are, and try not to, show all that weakness. Another reason is when this is more for people that are already in relationships, is when you're not focused on your purpose and your mission. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you're not focusing on your career that you want, or if you're not focusing on what you should be focusing on, like, for example, if you have a YouTube channel and you're not really you're not focusing on that, you're focusing on the woman too much, and you put all your attention towards her, eventually, over time, she'll sense that, all right, you're not being that strong man that she might have thought you once were. And if you don't stick to your purpose and stay on the grind, so to speak, she might get a little turned off over time, and it could end very badly. So it's always important to stay on the mission at hand. Keep going to the gym. Keep taking care of yourself. Do the work that you're supposed to be doing, and make the impact on the world that you're supposed to be making. Another reason is basically the dreaded friend zone. So it's unfortunately a lot of guys put themselves into this friend zone kind of way, and it hurts them big time, because a lot of guys think to themselves, well, if I could just talk to her and get her to know me and how much of a great guy I am, maybe she'll like me. And that doesn't really work out. Over time, if you just try to be her friend, she'll put you in the friend zone, as you rightfully put yourself. But so if you are attracted to someone and you want to go for it, you should go for it, or like you should make a date, as soon as possible, and stop texting all the time, because that's a big turn off if you're always texting, because when you text, you run out of stuff to talk to in person. So it's best to save the anticipation for when you guys actually hang out. So it's easy to get friend zoned in this day and age, especially with all the technology. The best thing you could do is make a date, to actually hang out. And if she doesn't reciprocate going on a date with you, then she's just not interested, and it's just best to move on. You don't want to get worked up over someone that is not into you, because that is, that's a long road into darkness you don't want to go into. Those are just some reasons why I think that men get rejected, and hopefully this video helps some people out. And we're going to come up with some more videos like this. And we're going to go into more detail in the future. So keep watching. We got some good stuff coming for you, and I will talk to you soon.